Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have another brand new Mattel Jurassic World figure, and not only a Jurassic World figure, but we have the Hammond collection Irritator to take a look at. As per usual, you can see the packaging looks pretty much just like it always does. It's never really all that different. Of course, we'll have a nice shot here on the side of the Irritator, the Jurassic World logo right there. And then here on the back, another shot of the figure, as well as some information here on the Irritator itself, which is always fun to have on there, and then the Hammond Collection logo over there on the side. So, without further ado, let's pop this baby open and take a look at it. And here is our Irritator now out of the packaging and looking really cool. If I can get the legs in a nice position where it will stand anyway, and it doesn't want to so far. These figures are usually pretty good at standing. I just have to get the legs in a good spot. There we go. Now I need to turn it so it's in a better spot for the camera. I think it's going to stand. It kind of was leaning there for a moment. But here's our Irritator now in all its glory, and it really does look quite beautiful. They definitely did a very good job on it. The sculpt looks exceptional, as it always does. And the paint job also looks pretty darn nice. I think it's not quite as nice, at least in the face area, as what I thought it was going to be, especially with the promotional images. But I, again, still think it looks really good. I just think that the blacks are a little bit kind of like more intense than I thought they were. I thought they were just applied a little lighter on the prototype, but maybe that's just my memory, kind of failing me, I guess. But I actually still really like it. I think the head does look really good. The overall body looks great, and the paint job is definitely really, really cool. So let's go ahead and jump straight to a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Irritator, you can see it looks really nice. We've got, again, those black tones there leading from the snout, kind of leading back into the eye socket area. The paint job is really nicely applied, very naturally applied. You can also see some beautiful scale detail throughout. Really like the scale detail right there specifically. We've got a really nicely painted eye in there, very small yellow eye. You can see a nice black pupil for the eye. We also have the crest up here painted with, and it loses focus, but painted with a variation of kind of like a reddish tone, almost like a red-orange. And the detail looks really good in the face, very, very crisp. You can also see we had the black leading along the lower jaw, leading back here, and it very abruptly transitions to kind of like a light gray here in the rear part of the lower jaw. Very nice looking scale detail back there as well. And of course we have articulation, both the lower jaw and upper jaw articulate to give you a very, very wide open, very intimidating looking, visual of our Irritator with the mouth open, ready to strike. But you can see the inside of the mouth is also really nicely sculpted. We have a beautifully textured tongue in there, and you can also see a little bit of color difference added. Not a whole lot to the inside of the mouth of this one, but a very, very nice, realistic, again, kind of a pinkish tone for the inside of the mouth. Nice looking sculpt in there as well, and a very nice gloss coat. All of the teeth are also sculpted really nicely. Primarily, they look like they're kind of sculpted individually, especially up there on the upper side. I love that there's kind of like a gap right there where there isn't a tooth, and you can kind of see that on both sides. And you can also see, again, that the paintwork of the teeth is really nice, really precise. Absolutely zero sloppiness there. The jaw doesn't close perfectly. You can see when we push it closed, it kind of opens up a little bit again, but that's not really that big of a deal. As you begin to lead back here along the course of the dinosaur, you can see some ridges picking up here on the top of the neck region. You can also see some of those yellow stripes beginning to pick up. And then again, look at how vibrant that scale detail is. It looks really, really nice. You also have some creasing back here right behind the lower jaw, as well as some skin wrinkles leading down the course of the neck. I love the underside of the throat. Very crocodilian sort of appearance to the underside of the throat. You kind of see a seam here running down the center, which is something that you do often see on these figures. But as you move down, you again see more osteoderms and stuff leading down the course of the side of the neck. You can see we've got one spot of articulation right here at the upper part of the neck, and it can go up pretty high. And then, of course, lead down, so you can kind of give it that, position where it's looking down. And then you've got another spot of articulation right here, which can kind of go left and right, as can this, actually. You can kind of turn it and stuff. Give your dinosaur a little bit of leeway there in the neck, but also, again, down here. And it gives you a pretty nice maneuverability. Nothing super impressive, but still pretty nice. I feel like we might have had a little more articulation in the neck, or at least a little smoother articulation in the neck on the Concavinator, but it's not too far off. But as you lead down here into the body, you can see that the scales increase in size, and look at how impressive the scale detail is down here in the side of the dinosaur. Like, wow. That is super nice looking, very, very vibrant, impressive scale detail. There's just so many scales and so much variation within those scales. Very, very impressive. You can see up here on the back of the dinosaur, we have kind of like a little sail going on here. You can kind of see like ridges leading along the back of that area, as well as more of those yellow stripes striping down here along the side. You, of course, do see a seam here kind of running along where that area was connected. As you lead down into the arms, you can see the muscle definition. Not a whole lot of coloration going on down here, as we basically just have the grayish tone of the body in the arms. And then as you lead down, you've got some scoots in the fingers, and then of course some very nicely painted nails, nicely painted with a black. We don't have like wrist articulation or anything on this one, but you can articulate the dinosaur so that the wrists are held kind of correctly. There you go, you can kind of see that there. So it's not like it has pronated wrists or anything. Of course, you could pronate them if you choose to, but I don't know why you'd want to do that. But you, of course, have the articulation right there in the shoulder area, as well as the ability to kind of move it out away from the body, and then the elbow, go forward and back, and that, of course, can swivel as well, which allows you to, again, correct the wrists. But as you move back here along the course of the stomach, let's push this leg out of the way. It was really stiff because I hadn't moved it prior. But you can see, again, we lead down to that lighter gray here for the underside. Again, that kind of crocodilian sort of look. A lot of really nice looking sculpt here on the underside of the stomach. And super smooth transition with that light gray down into the area of the stomach. On the underside of the stomach, I should say. But you see more of that yellow kind of leading down here in the thigh of the dinosaur, more incredible scale detail, as well as some nice muscle definition again. Leading down, you've got a really nicely sculpted out calf muscle. Again, some more scale detail that is absolutely popping on the sculpt. And then as you lead down here into the foot, you've got some nice scoots down the course of the front of the foot, down into the toes. The nicely painted nails again. The nails also have a nice gloss coat. We do have dew claws, but they are unpainted, unfortunately, because Mattel just really doesn't like the dew claw. But as you lead back up here, you again have like some skin wrinkles and stuff right there, some more right here. You can also see that that light gray kind of tapers off. I wish it would have ran the entire way through, but you know, it's not the end of the world. And as you lead out here into the tail, you see more of that yellow kind of striping down, but that as well tapers off a little bit, you know, through the tail. I wouldn't even say about halfway, maybe approaching halfway as you lead out. And you have kind of almost like a paddle-like tail, very similar to the way we see Spinosaurus often portrayed nowadays as you lead out. Very kind of reptilian sort of scaling, very different look to the scaling of the tail compared to what we see in the body, which is actually pretty cool. But as you lead back here, I forgot to mention the articulation of the legs. You do have the hip, again, which can go forward and back and out away from the body a little bit. And then you also have the knee. Very, very smooth. Of course, all of these joints can swivel to give you different positioning. And then you've got two areas as you lead down into the ankle, which can very, very nicely articulate. And then, of course, all of these areas can swivel as well. And then you've also got the articulation here in the tail. You can go up, down, left, right, and you have a wire tail, of course, for that extra bit of posability with the figure. You're not really going to see a whole lot of difference over here any more so than what we had seen on the initial side, of course, because it is a fully articulated figure. You don't really see a whole lot of difference going on. We can see the rib cage and stuff, something I didn't point out before, but again, it is absolutely phenomenal. Like, I really love this Irritator. Definitely one of the coolest Hammond collection figures to come along so far. As far as the size goes, in the position that it's currently standing in, of course, you can make it a little taller by stretching the legs out a little bit and also repositioning the neck. But I feel like this is a pretty comfortable spot for the dinosaur. You were looking at just shy, or almost actually right on the dot, of about 13 inches or around 33 centimeters, and to the top of the neck, about 4.5 inches or around 11.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there, of course, is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Golovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line, next to our Irritator. And you can see it does have a pretty darn impressive size, pretty nice size as a whole, but it fits right there in that same similar size range to most of the previous figures that we've had in this line of this sort of size, as you have like the Ceratosaurus, the Concavenator, the Baryonyx. They're all in this very similar size range, and to show you that, there is the Hammond Collection Baryonyx, and you can see again very, very similar in size. Obviously the head of the Baryonyx is a little bit larger, but as a whole, they are a very similar size. Interesting to see that we now have an Irritator and a Baryonyx in this line. Almost feels like we're leading to a Spinosaurus. And here is the Ceratosaurus, which actually is shockingly a little bit larger than the Irritator. I don't know why I assumed these were very similar in size. The Ceratosaurus is definitely a little bit bigger than our Irritator is as far as like body mass. I would say they're probably similar in length, but definitely a bit larger in body mass. We've also got the Ankylosaurus in for a comparison. Again, from the Hammond collection, you can see the Ankylosaurus is definitely a very impressive size as a whole, but not, again, too far off as far as a size comparison between these two. We've also got the Velociraptor from the Hammond collection, which you can definitely see is a lot smaller. Of course, you would definitely expect it to be. And then for one final comparison, we have the Parasaurolophus next to the Irritator, again showing you that they're similar in size. Again, body mass definitely would be going to the Parasaurolophus, but as a whole, they're not too far off in size. And then at the last minute, I decided to change my mind and bring in the Hammond Collection T-Rex as well, just to give you one more comparison to show you that, of course, the T-Rex is way larger. So far, until that Brachiosaurus drops, nothing can compete with this T-Rex when it comes to the Hammond Collection and size. So this brand new Mattel Jurassic World Hammond Collection Irritator is definitely a really beautiful figure and another great addition to this line. I honestly think the only thing missing from a lot of these figures that would really help them to kind of give them more of that adult collectible feel is like a dark wash. Like if they just added some sort of a lightly applied dark wash to just highlight the detail a little bit better, a little bit more realistically, these things would look absolutely epic, as even though they do already, but they would just look more adult oriented rather than looking like a really cool articulated, toy. They'd look more like an adult collectible. But that being said, they still look absolutely awesome, and this Irritator is gorgeous. They really did a great job on the sculpt, giving it, again, all the detail that you would expect to see from a Mattel figure, as they always deliver extremely highly detailed sculpts, maybe even a little bit better than what you usually see, especially when it comes to the scale detail on the body itself. That's probably some of the most impressive scale detail I've ever seen from Mattel, not only for the Hammond collection, but I would say overall for any of their figures. Definitely some incredible looking fine detail on this. Of course, the paintwork is really nice as well. There's a good bit of coloration to it, and that's always a plus to the Hammond collection over the main line. You definitely get a lot more as far as paint apps go, and we see that here with quite a bit of different variation of color throughout. The only thing I think that paint-wise could have helped this would have been adding more of the coloration leading out further into the tail, and of course painting the dew claw. But outside of that, again, I think the paintwork is great. It's nice and natural and looks absolutely like it could be the coloration you would see on this species. On top of that, you have tons of articulation, creating the ability to pose it and display it pretty much any way you want, create all kinds of different dioramas, and definitely a really cool figure, as they all are when it comes to using them for dinosaur toy photography. So as a whole, it's a definite pickup. Absolutely a huge recommendation for me. If you are interested in grabbing this, I will include a link in the description to Big Bad Toy Store where I purchased mine. This one specifically seems to be going in and out of stock like almost every other day. So if it is out of stock when you go there, check back tomorrow. It probably will be back in stock. It just keeps going in and out, but an absolute must-have if you are a fan of the Hammond collection. So make sure you pick this up, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.